Okay, let's take a look at the Triangulation Lab, especially if you're doing this at home. The lab refers to having blocks. You can use any three objects. Here, we're going to use wooden blocks and be able to lay them on a desk or the floor. And then we're going to take measurements to position those within our crime scene. So for the 90-degree method, we see there's a body here, there's a table with a gun on it. They've measured from one wall, and the other wall to the center of the body, from one wall and the other wall to the center of the gun. That's what we're going to do with the blocks. So you're going to place your three objects in front of you. It could be anything, a pair of scissors, a stuffed animal, a coffee cup, three objects. Take your ruler, measure from each edge, and then you need to make a sketch. Well, how are we going to do that? Virtually. You go to your drive, go to New, go to More, and click on Drawings. It opens up a workspace. Now, using shapes, I can get a rectangle and basically draw my workspace here. This would be my desk. I can put in objects. So I will use circles in a couple of spots. If you're using blocks, you might want to use blocks. You don't have to try to draw the actual object today. You could get really fancy if you wanted to and actually insert images if you had a real pair of scissors, for example, but not necessary. We have three objects in our space. They should be basically how you see them in front of you while you're doing the lab. So put them where they really would be, approximately. Now, I can use some of these other line tools. For example, Scribble lets me draw a line over to the center and then a line up to the center. And there, I now know the distance from left to right and top to bottom. So this would be my X coordinate. This would be my Y coordinate. I would do the same thing, for example, for this object. And notice my lines aren't perfect. Okay. But I've got my distances here. Then I need to go back in and put in my measurements. So using a text box, for example, maybe this block here for this line was 37 centimeters from that wall. Okay, and then make them neat. So if you need to, you can bold it, you can change the font size, you can go into these lines, you can change colors if you want to, you can change the weight of it, but make it fairly neat. But this is a rough sketch, so you don't have to spend hours on this, but try to make it fairly neat. If you were doing this with pen and paper, we would use a ruler and we would just draw these and then we would handwrite these in. Now I need to make sure I gave my drawing a name, so I'm going to go Lab 1 as an example. Just give it something that makes sense. Maybe you say Triangulation Lab. You go back to your original document, and at the bottom, it tells you to attach your rough sketch. Well, in this case, you're just going to click on the doc, go Insert, Image, and you're going to do that from Drive, and you're going to find your most recent photo. Okay, so here I can go to my drive to find where I had that. Another way to do it is to go Insert Drawing from your drive, and that will bring it up another way. And so here I see Lab 1, and I select it, and I insert it, and there it is. Okay, so now I've done my first drawing. The second one is very similar, except in this case I'm going to triangulate. So I am going to go from the corner of my desk, from the corner of my desk, or corner of the room to corner of the room. The thing that's important about these is they need to be fixed objects that don't normally move. So in here, I would go File, New, Drawing. I would create my workspace again. But now let's say I've got a shape here of something that I want to triangulate. When I use my line tool this time, I go from the corner of my space to the center, and that was really bad. Corner of my space, those lines should be straight. Really, we would want to use a ruler. And then you label those lines with your distance, just like it shows you to do in the lab here, and then insert those into it. When you're done, do not use the share button to submit it. Go back to the original file in the Google Classroom and use the Turn In button. And if you need help with that, let me know. And that's how you're going to submit that lab. Let me know if you need any other help.